Anyway, from Lala. Hare Krishna. So today is a very special day for us. This is the Disappearance Day of Srila Ramananda Roy, who was one of the 3.5 associates of Lord Chaitanya with whom he discussed very, very intimate pastimes of Krishna. So we'll, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, we'll try to explain something about the glories of Ramananda Roy today. So on the disappearance days of the great Vaishnavas, there's one song that Srila Prabhupada always used to sing. So we'll sing that. If you have your devices, first of all, you can put them on silent, because these little babies have a way of crying in the middle of the lecture. And you can look up Jaya Nilo Premadana, beautiful song by Narottam Das Thakur about the separation of the devotees. Jaya Nilo Premadhana Karuna Prachu Jaya Nilo Premadhana Karuna Praju. A little faster. Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur. Kahamura Swarup Rupa Kahasanatan Kahadata Ragunata Patita Pao Patita Pavo Kahamura Bhata Juga Kaha Kabira Eka Kale Kota Gela Goranatana Pasani Kujivo Mata Anali Pashivo Goranga Gunera Niri Kotagile Pavo Saba Sangira Sangi Jai Koila Vela Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Sangana Paya Kande Narotamada Anila Prema Dhana Karuna Prabhu Eno Prabhu Kota Gila Acharya Thakur Eno Prabhu Kota Gila Ramananda Roy Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur. Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur, Jai Vaishnava Thakur. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Vaishnava Thakur Ramananda Roy ki Jai Nitya Leela Vishnu Mr. Padas Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananda Gauri Vaishnavrinda ki Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki Sri Jagannath Puri Dham ki Ganga Maya Jamuna Mai ki Srimati Vrindadevi Tulsi Maharani ki Srimati Bhakti Devi ki Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir ki, Ramananda Roy Aktiruba Maha Mahotsav ki, Holy Disappearance Day of Srila Ramananda Roy ki, Taigo Premanandi. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So actually today we have double nectar, because not only it is the disappearance day of Ramananda Roy, this is also the day that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj finished writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can see the very last verse of the last chapter of Antya Leela, Sikshastakam prayers. Krishnadas Kaviraj writes, in Vrindavan in the year 1537, Shakabda era, AD 1615, in the month of Jais, which is today, this month right now, on Sunday, the 5th day of the waning today is the 5th day of the waning moon, this Chaitanya Charitamrita has been completed. So this is the auspicious day that Chaitanya Charitamrita was completed. So we have double mercy, Ramananda Roy and appearance of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because even if you study Bengali literature from mundane point of view, you have to study Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because in Bengali literature, there's no book quite like it. Somehow our Krishnadas Kaviraj, he said, eloquence is the true spoken, what's the word he uses? Succinctly anyway, something like that. Very sweet words. So he has kept this Chaitanya Charitamrita just so sweet. If you listen to the verses, they're so sweet. So the other day, somebody, on Monday, whoever was giving class, he was singing the verses, such a sweet melody. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is very, very sweet. But at the same time, the entire deep philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is kept within these sweet words. Ordinarily, if you write something sweet, then you get all this flowery language and it just gets big and big. But he's written very, very simply. Now, if you write about philosophy, especially the deep philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then you have to use all these big words and everyone goes to sleep. But he's captured the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy in very, very sweet, simple language. Even simple villager can understand. Very sweet language he's kept this. All the deep truths of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the same time is just sweet as nectar. So, anyway, we'll try to, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, we'll try to say something about Ramananda Roy. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Vidati Saparandigam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So Ramananda Roy is a very, very important personality in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a son of Bhavananda Roy, who had 5 sons. And they lived in a small village, Bentapur, just near Alalanath. We went one time to Alalanath, and it was very funny because, of course, in Alalanath they won't allow foreigners inside. You can go see the place where like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to lie down in the courtyard, on the side of the courtyard, but to go inside the temple. And I happened to be there with Navyaginda Maharaj and some of his disciples. We were going there for Rath Yatra. So after Rath Yatra, we visited some places. So one place was Alalana, and Pujaris made a big deal about not letting me inside. And I said, at least give some prasadam. He said, give some Mahaprasad. He said, oh, Barabaji, it's 12 o'clock, Mahaprasad will come. I said, what about some Balbog, the early bog? I said, you want Balbog? I said, any type of Mahaprasad, we're ready to. So he went inside, he brought back something very simple, and he gave it to me. He started to give to me. I said, no, first you give to Maharaj. He said, Are, for me, everyone is Maharaj. Everybody same. Huh? Everybody same. You Maharaj, I Maharaj, everybody Maharaj. And Navagindra Swami was walking up and down the road chanting his rounds, and he heard this. And he came running like a storm, and he said, so you take him inside. You said everyone is one. So you take him inside, give him darshan. Hindu dharma, Krishna dharma. No. You said everybody is one. Everyone's Maharaj. You take him inside. Hindu dharma. Then Maharaj said, so, you're saying Hindu dharma, but what is your dharma? You're just seeing the skin. Skin means chamar. So you're chamar. Chamar means sweeper class, lowest class down. You're chamar dharma. Oh, he was so, we got him really good. Anyway, we went to visit the place where Ramananda Roy was born. Very sweet little places there. That was many, many years, more than 30 years ago, so it was pretty decrepit condition. I don't know now. They had so many ancient scriptures, all written on palm leaves, that they're even afraid to touch, because they may fall apart or something. They had all these, they showed us this room with all these ancient scriptures there. We went to that place. So Mahaprabhu, he told Bhavananda Roy, he said, previously you were Pandu, and your 5 sons, they're the Pandavas. And that specifically Ramananda Roy, he's identified with Arjuna. Now, Gaurganadesha Deepika says that one of his identities, previous identity, is Arjuna, but he's also identified with Lalita Sakhi. And Gaurganadesha Deepika says some people say also Vishaka. So he's a very interesting fellow in this way. But he was a very great statesman and a great scholar and poet also. And due to his grasp of Rajaniti, what do you say? Politics. Maharaj Prataparudra made him the governor of the southern part of his kingdom, Madras. And he made his headquarters in a place called Rajmundri, right on the bank of the Godavari River. So we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had some dealings with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He managed to convert Sarvabhauma from a Mayavadi to a Vaishnava. And then Sarvabhauma said, I never realized the importance of Ramananda Roy. He said, nobody knows Krishna like Ramananda Roy. because he knew that Mahaprabhu was going on South India tour. So he said, when you get to Rajamundry, you must meet Ramananda Roy. Nobody knows Krishna like him. He says, now I can appreciate who he was. So Mahaprabhu, he went on his South Indian tour, very interesting tour. We always go with nice, first class AC ticket or airplane, but Mahaprabhu was just going by his feet with his two hands raised in the air, chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And anyone who saw him chanting like that, he also began to chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And that person would go back to his village chanting the holy name, and anyone who saw him, they also began to chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is spreading the chanting of the holy name. So finally he reached the bank of the Godavari in Rajamundry and took his bath. And then a little distance from the bathing place, he sat down and began to chant. And he was sitting there and chanting. Suddenly there was huge sound. Big music was going on, and gongs were being played, and elephants were coming, and so many hundreds of people came. And the king and the governor, Ramananda Roy, he came in a palanquin. He'd been carried in a palanquin and surrounded by so many Vedic Brahmins. He'd come to take his bath, so it was a big deal. They had music and everything. And he took his bath. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized that this must be Ramananda Roy, because nobody could come like this to take bath, only the governor. And though his mind was running after him, he sat peacefully. Somehow, Ramananda Roy took his bath, he made his oblations to his forefathers. Then he looked up the bank of the Godavari and he saw this golden sannyasi who was shining like hundreds and hundreds of suns. And he immediately went there. He approached him, and Ramananda Roy was in ecstasy. Both were in ecstasy. Both of them, their natural love for each other was awakened. And Mahaprabhu stood up. And then both of them embraced. Now this was very amazing because Ramananda, I don't know, somehow he's governor, that means he's like a Kshatriya, but he was considered a Sudra, so I can understand Maharashtra, I'll never understand caste system. So sannyasi should never touch a Sudra, but they both embraced. And they went into ecstasy. They fell on the ground and they were rolling and rolling. And then they realized that all the Vedic Brahmins who were sitting there, they're little, what is this, So they somehow managed to calm themselves down. And Mahaprabhu was very happy. He said, Sarvabhauma told me to come and see you because you know more about Krishna than anyone, and I'm just a Mayavada sannyasi, I don't understand these things. And Ramananda Roy said, oh, Sarvabhauma, he's always very kind upon me. Actually, it is my fortune that he has sent you here that I get to meet you. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, without any separate endeavor, somehow we've met. This is very nice. So seeing they were surrounded by all these smarta Brahmins who would not understand because this was totally out of character for sannyasi, especially a saffron-wearing sannyasi, to embrace a Sudra. This was totally out of character. So they agreed to meet later in the day, alone. So Ramananda Roy came, because one Brahmin came, he gave Mahaprabhu an invitation. So Mahaprabhu went to his house, and after dinner, after lunch, then we'll meet. So then they met after lunch, and Mahaprabhu was again telling him that I'm just a Mayavada sannyasi, I don't understand anything, so Sarvabhauma has sent me here to understand something about Krishna from you. And he said, don't try to fool me. I know you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I'm just, I don't know anything. I'm just an instrument in your hands. Whatever you make me sing, I will sing. Like this they were talking. So then Mahaprabhu asked him, what is the goal of life and how to achieve it? What does it mean to achieve it? And Ramananda Roy, he quoted Shastra and he said to follow the Varnashram Dharma, to follow one's duty in the Varnashram Dharma. And Mahaprabhu said, Eho Bhaya. Bhaya means you can understand Bahar. External. This is external. Following the Varnashram Dharma, this is just external thing. So you tell something more. Then he quoted some other scriptures. He even quoted one of our favorite verses, Yat karosi yadasnasi yat johosi dudasi yat karusva Krishna Manarpanam. He said, no, not that. Then he quoted our favorite verse. Everybody knows this verse, backwards, forwards, upside down. If you're sleeping, somebody says in your ear, what's that verse in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Sarvaramam paritaja mahamekam saranam braja ham tam sarvapapiyo mokshishmi mahasucha. And Mahaprabhu said, Eho Bhaya. But this is our favorite verse. Mahaprabhu said, Eho Bhaya. No, not this. This is very amazing. So then Ramananda Roy, he quoted a verse from the 14th chapter of 10th canto, the prayers of Lord Brahma. This is the last chapter that Srila Prabhupada personally translated. And there's so many nice verses. If you read the Goswami literature, you'll always see coming back to these verses of Lord Brahma. They always quote many verses, many important verses there. But he quoted this one verse. Yane prayasam mudapasya namandeva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavati vartam stane tadasrutigatam tanuvan manovir ye prayaso jitotjiposyathais trilokyam. Prayas means attempt. It's a jnani prayas. This attempt by jnana includes karma. Because we know pure bhakti means that jnana karmare anavritam. It's not covered with jnana and karma. Jnana prayasam udapasya. If you listen on the recording, Prabhupada says udapasya means kick it out. You kick out this jnana and karma. Jnani prayasam udapasya namanteva. Jivanti, all your life, jivanti sanmukaritam. According to Sanskrit rules, if a T comes before M or N, and then it becomes an N. So the word is actually sat. We know that means a Vaishnava, because devotee, he's only speaking satya, so the Vaishnava is known as sat. And mukh, we know, mouth, sanmukaritam. We should hear from realized soul about what? Bhavadiya Bhartam. In Hindi we have word Vartalap. Vartalap means chatting. So just like we see, everybody's chatting on Messenger, on Instagram, on Telegram, and so many Twitter. Everybody's chatting all day long. But what does this verse, Lord Brahma say? He's talking to Krishna, so he says, Bhavadiya Vartam. He says, if we want to chat, then we should chat about you, your chats. We should chat about you, Bhavadiya Vartam. Everybody's all day long busy chatting so many things, But Bhavadiya, we should chat about Krishna. Bhavadiya Vartam, your chats. There's many types of Krishna Katha. One, of course, is talking about Krishna. Other talking about Krishna's devotees. That is also a type of Krishna. Or talking about Krishna's seva. Just like if we're loading up the Sankirtan van, you say, load up all the boxes of books in the van. That is not a material sound, that is in Krishna's seva. That is also transcendental vibration. So, and one is there spoken by Krishna, just like Bhagavad Gita, these words actually spoken by Krishna. So this is the Varta, this is the chats we should do. Krishna's words about Krishna, about the devotees, about seva. Sibhavadiya Vartam. Stane stita. Stane stita. Stan we know means place. Just like in the old days, there was Hindustan and Pakistan. Then suddenly the old Soviet Union broke up and all of a sudden all these stans appeared. Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and so many, Baluchistan, and so many stans are there. Rajasthan. He says, Stane stita, stay in your place. And not that you have to give up your family and go to the Himalayas and sit in fire in the summer and sit in the cold water in the winter. No, Stane, you say whatever you're doing, you do. You continue doing. Stane stita. Shruti katam. But you go on hearing. Hearing what? Chats about Krishna. Stane stitam shruti katam. Tanuman vanobi. With your mind, body and word, you should offer obeisances to Krishna Katha. By ye prayaso, by this attempt, that person who is ajita, you can hear on the lecture, Prabhupada says, ajita. Anybody can conquer God? No, no one can conquer God. He's ajita. But if somebody sits and listens to pure devotee speaking about Krishna, then jita. That person, Thais Trilokam, and all the three worlds, nobody is there who can defeat him. But he becomes defeated by that person. He becomes defeated by that person. So, Mahaprabhu said, yes, this is the verse. Because Sarvadharman Preacher, you have to know first of all who's God. Somebody's saying Hanuman's God, somebody's saying Devi's God, somebody's saying Shiva's God, everybody's saying Kartikeya's God, everybody's saying something. So how will you surrender unless you know? So first, you have to hear, Sanmukaritam, you hear from a Vaishnava. Bhavadiya Vartam, Krishna's chats. Then you're going to, so this is the real path right here. You associate with the devotees and hear about Krishna's pastimes from pure devotees. That's why Prabhupada created this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, so we can help each other glorify Krishna. So then Mahaprabhu said, now go on further. So then he goes on talking about higher stages. If you want to fall into complete ecstasy, because they go into topics, it's not in a public lecture like this, we can't get into it. But they go on, he talks about Santaras and Dasyaras and Sakyaras and paternal ras, Vatsalya ras, and finally talks about Madhurya ras, and then they go, and he still tells him, keep going further. And he said, well, I don't know anything. Whatever you're making me say is coming from my heart, my heart to your heart, just like Teni Brahma Vrida, the beginning of Bhagavatam says that he revealed everything. So you're just revealing everything in my heart. Whatever you're making me say, I don't know anything. No, go on. And then he goes on into the topmost devotee is Srimati Radharani, and he goes on describing the love of the gopis, and it gets higher and higher, and he says, all the gopis, of course. He said, even if there's millions of gopis, he said, still without Radharani, Krishna can't be happy. And he goes on glorifying and glorifying, just goes higher and higher and higher and higher. And finally, Ramananda Roy, he begins to sing one verse of his own competition. He was, as I said, he was also not only just a great statesman, he was a scholar and poet. As soon as he started singing this verse, Mahaprabhu covered his mouth. It's too much ecstasy, this is too high. Like that, they went higher and higher. If you want to get totally in ecstasy, read this part of the eighth part of Madhya Lila. In this way, they agreed to meet every day, and every day they would meet and talk about Krishna Katha and so many pastimes. And then there's one famous conversation. Starting from verse 245. On one occasion, the Lord inquired, of all types of education, which is the most important? Ramananda Roy replied, no education is important other than the transcendental devotional service of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Ramananda Roy, out of all glorious activities, which is the most glorious? Ramananda replied, that person who is reputed to be a devotee of Lord Krishna enjoys the utmost fame and glory. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, of the many capitalists who possess great riches, who is the topmost? Ramananda Roy replied, he who is the richest in love for Radha and Krishna is the greatest capitalist. It's so sweet how Prabhupada translated this way for us to understand. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, of all kinds of distress, what is the most painful? Apart from separation from a devotee of Krishna, I know of no unbearable unhappiness. To be separated from the association of the Vaishnavas is the most distressing situation. Nowadays, some devotees, they're in far-off places separated, but this is the proper way to utilize this social media. Now by social media, we're all able to associate with one another. Instead of gossiping, we should talk about Krishna. Some devotees, that's their only association because they live in places where there's no devotees. Here it says, most unbearable happiness. But by this way, they're able to get some association. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then inquired, out of all liberated persons, who should be accepted as the greatest? Ramananda Roy replied, he who has love for Krishna has attained the topmost liberation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next asked Ramananda Roy, among many songs, which song is to be considered the actual religion of the living entity? And Ramananda replied, that song describing the loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna is superior to all other songs. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, of all auspicious and beneficial activities, what is best for the living entity? Ramananda Roy replied, the only auspicious activity is association with the devotees of Krishna. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. He created this ISKCON so we can associate with devotees. This is the most auspicious activity. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, what should all living entities constantly remember? Ramananda Roy replied, the chief objects of remembrance are always the Lord's holy name, qualities, and pastimes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further inquired, of many types of meditation, which is required for all living entities? Sri Ramananda Roy replied, the chief duty of every living entity is to meditate upon the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, where should the living entity live, abandoning all other places? Ramananda replied, he should live in the holy place known as Vrindavan or Vrajabhumi, where the Lord performed his rasa dance. So we're very fortunate. Here's the best place, certified by Ramananda Roy. Best place is Vrajabhumi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, out of all topics people listen to, which is the best for all living entities? Ramananda Roy replied, hearing about the loving affairs between Radha and Krishna is most pleasing to the ear. Still, we want to hear about politics and cricket. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, among all worshipful objects, which is the chief? Ramananda Roy replied, the chief worshipful object is the holy name of Radha and Krishna, the Hare Krishna mantra. And what is the destination of those who desire liberation, those who desire sense gratification? Sri Chaitanya asked. Ramananda Roy replied, those who attempt to merge into the existence of the Supreme Lord will have to accept bodies like those of trees, and those who are overly inclined towards sense gratification will attain the bodies of demigods. Ramananda Roy continued, those who are devoid of all transcendental mellows are like crows that suck the juice from the bitter fruits of the neem tree. Like now they're all flowering, then in a little while you'll see these yellow fruits come, but they're bitter. Whereas those who enjoy mellows are like the cuckoos who eat the buds of the mango tree of love of Godhead. Ramananda Roy concluded, the unfortunate empiric philosophers taste the dry process of philosophical knowledge, whereas devotees regularly drink the nectar of love of Krishna. Therefore, they are the most fortunate of all. So in this way, Mahaprabhu, every day they were meeting, then he said, you retire from all materialistic activities and come to Puri and stay with me. So we know King Maharaj Prataparudra, he was very great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So when he heard that Lord Chaitanya wanted to associate with Ramananda Roy, immediately gave him, freed him from his duties as the governor. He retired him early, and he gave him full pension. He could stay with Mahaprabhu. We know, especially the two of them, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy especially, they were always with Mahaprabhu. You know, whenever Mahaprabhu would go into ecstasy, they would sing verses to guide his ecstasy this way or that way, and sometimes to calm him down. Sometimes he would be feeling the separation from Krishna, and they would sing songs to soothe his heart. In this way, they remained with Mahaprabhu, relishing most transcendental Krishna Katha. And Mahaprabhu was told that Ramananda Roy, he's unparalleled in his renunciation. Nobody can imitate. Mahaprabhu himself says, even if I see a wooden doll in the form of a woman, my mind becomes agitated. Just imagine, Mahaprabhu saying just a wooden doll. But this Ramananda Roy, even touching women, he feels no agitation whatsoever. As we heard, he wrote that Jagannath Ballabha Natakam and many other dramas, and he would make these dramas, dance dramas, that the Devi Dasis would dance before Lord Jagannath in the evening. So he would train them, he would bathe them, he would dress them, he would decorate them. And nobody can imitate, Mahaprabhu said, nobody can imitate the renunciation of Chaitanya of Ramananda Roy. Mahaprabhu said, even if I see a wooden doll, I become agitated. This Ramananda Roy, even touching women, his mind is not disturbed. So sometimes people try to imitate these pastimes, but nobody should even dream of imitating the pastimes of Ramananda. He's the chief of separation, of renunciation. And Mahaprabhu disappeared before Ramananda Roy. And our Swarup Damodar, he was so overcome when Mahaprabhu left this world that very soon he died. He also left this world. But we told that Ramananda Roy was not only famous as a statesman, he was very good in organizing and managing it. He saw that all the devotees had fallen into complete grief now that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left. So he stayed. He also wanted to leave, but he stayed to calm all the devotees. And by his expert management, he managed to organize all the devotees and calm them down. And then finally on this 5th day of the waning moon in the month of Jest, Ramananda Roy also entered the eternal pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. Oh, then we forgot that at the end of all of these discussions, that's the most important. Then Ramananda Roy, he became a little disturbed. He said, Mahaprabhu, he said, Prabhu, what are you doing? Before I was seeing you as something, now as a sannyasi, now something else is covering your form. And Mahaprabhu revealed the Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayani. He manifested that he was non-different than Radha and Krishna together. And Ramananda Roy saw this. Mahaprabhu said, no one else has seen this. So we can just understand the position of Ramananda Roy. So advanced devotee that Mahaprabhu revealed that he was the incarnation of Radha and Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna. Ramananda Roy revealed this thing. Mahaprabhu revealed this thing to him and told him, please don't speak this thing to anyone. So there's nobody who knew devotional service and love of Krishna like Ramananda Roy. He described so beautifully. Just like he has that one verse, Ubayor what is it? In between these two, we're talking about Chandravali. Radharani is the best. It's described that most people, their love of Krishna is like water. If you pour water, when you stop, it stops. And Chandravali, she's like ghee. If you pour ghee, then you pull it back like that, still a few little drops come. And Radharani is like honey. If you pour honey and you turn the bottle, still the honey is flowing out like that. So her bhav is just like honey. Chandravali is ghee, and Radharani is like honey. In this way he describes so many wonderful things about the higher truths of Vaishnava philosophy. So maybe somebody has some questions or something else they'd like to add. Yes? Where's our Bhakta mic?
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, can you describe one pastimes of love between Radha and Krishna? Can you tell us a Leela loving relationship between Radha and Krishna, please?
Can you share one pastime between Radha and Krishna?
Okay, we were thinking of one the other day.
Is Ramananda Roy gave us some pastimes?
One time, because now it's Jest and finally the rainy season will come. The first month of rainy season is Shravan. Once the rainy season comes, then nice cool breezes blow. And we celebrate the Julan Yatra, end of Shravan. Last 5 days of Shravan, we celebrate the Julan Yatra of Radha and Krishna. And having lived here in Bharat for more than 40 years, I've seen, especially in the month of Shravan, all the young married girls, they go home to visit their mother and father. So Radharani, she left Javat and she went to Barsana. So now she's farther away. Barsana is farther away than Javat. It'd be easy for them to meet. But Barsana is a little more difficult. So Radharani was feeling unhappy. And to cheer up, there's a hill. If you go on the Prikrama Marg of Barsana, you come to a place called Sankari Kor. And on left side, Sankari Kor, two hills meet, so they make a very narrow pass. In Brij Bhasa we say, Sankari Kor, narrow pass. So one side, of course, is Barsana. The other side is a hill called Bilaskar. This hill is called Bilaskar. And when you go to Dangar, Dan Bihari Temple, you can look across and you can see beautiful, we say Julan, but in Braj Bhasa it's a Hindol. Big Hindol you can see on top of that hill there. So they took Radharani on top of that Bilaskar hill. And they were swinging her with it, because the breezes in the rainy season are very beautiful. So swinging is very pleasant. Causes the air to move and you feel. They're trying to cheer up Radharani. Suddenly the Sakhis, they looked down in the pass, coming up the road, there was an unknown Sakhi. Beautiful, dark complexioned Sakhi was walking. And keeping her sari down over her head very chastely, she was walking. And everyone pointed out this new Sakhi to Radharani. So Radharani said, bring her here. So they went, they brought that Sakhi, she came very shyly. She bowed before Srimati Radhika and she stood there very shyly, just, you've been to the village, they sort of peek out from the top of their sari like this. And Radharani said, oh sister, why are you standing so far away? You come here, sit with me. So all the Sakhis, they put that new Sakhi right next to Radharani in the swing. By now, you may have guessed who our dark complexioned gopi is. But he has disguised himself in this form in order to, because it's very difficult in Varsana to get close to Radharani, so he disguised like this. But now he's got his desire. He's sitting on the swing with Srimati Radhika. His heart was going ping, 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 ping. He fainted. And all the Sakhis came running and they were pressing like this. Oh, what's that? What happened? What happened? Now if we press here, it should be very soft. They felt something hard. And they reached under the sari and they pulled out Shamsundar's flute. Then they sprinkled some water, woke him up, and they sat him on the swing. And from the Kadasi day up to the Purnima, that is the Julan Yatra of Radha Govinda. Since it's getting hot again, I would tell this pastime to cool us off. Any other questions or comments? Anybody else has something else to add, something I missed? So there's no other comments or questions? We can all bow down at the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of the great personality who's translated his Chaitanya Charitamrita into English and now is in so many languages for us to relish all of these wonderful things. Srila Prabhupada ki. And Prabhupada finished his translation on the 10th day of the dark half of Kartik. Kaviraj finished today, and Prabhupada finished in Kartik. That means 2 days after Bahulasmi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.